Welcome to Stella Root's Table, the podcast dedicated to life and everything that comes with it. Come on in and have a seat, grab your beverage of choice, and let's sit down at this table and have a chat. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day it is where you are. I greet you with a big old Texas smile and a hug from afar. You have tuned in to Stella Root's Table, the podcast dedicated to life and everything that comes along with it. I am your host, Kimberly Brown, and I am unapologetically myself because I don't know how to be anybody else. I thank you guys for tuning in today to Mom Files Part 2, Episode 3. This is our third episode of the second part of our Mom Files, which is part of our Women Talking series, and I am enjoying my conversation with our special guest, Miss Megan of Overcoming This Life. She is a remarkable young woman, and I am just very, very impressed with her. So once you finish listening to our podcast today, just hop on over to YouTube and pull her up. That's Overcoming This Life with Megan Bullman, and go ahead and subscribe while you're at it, and let's get into this podcast. Okay, so now, here's the next one. What ill effects are there from drinking water out of the dog's bowl?
Oh my gosh. I deal with that one all the time.
Actually, there's no ill effects. No. I mean, it's water. Yeah.
Everyone always asks me, or like my dad will be like, Gabriel's playing in the dog bowl. I'm like, okay. Well, it's water. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh no. But, it's just like, God, I don't really know I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. There's worse stuff.
Yeah, like some of the new parents, and I'm so happy. Megan you seem to be a very well-rounded new mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to be.
Because some of these new mommies, they freak out about stuff, and you like, calm down. Yeah. It's okay. It's just water.
My dad told me, he goes,
so what the dog drunk out of it? And because trust me, you're going to have bigger problems.
Oh yeah.
So it been all out of shape over him drinking out of it
like that.
Yeah, right. Just why do that? Because trust me, the first time they do something really crazy, and your heart jumps out of your chest, that him drinking out the water bowl is not going to matter.
It'll be a blip on the
Right,
radar.
right. Now here's the next one. Now I've been guilty of this. How many times can a binky fall on the floor before it actually gets dirty?
Never.
I've been guilty because I had 3 babies, but my son was 4, my oldest daughter was 3, and then I had a baby, and so I was all over the place. Yeah. And so my son wasn't really a binky kid, and my youngest daughter wasn't really a binky kid, but I tried to make her a binky kid. Because she didn't cry, she just made noise. And I was like, oh God. Just need a break. So I would give her the binky, and she would spit it out or toss it. And I would pick it up and suck it and put it right back in.
Right, exactly. That's what moms do. That's exactly what moms do.
I'm guilty because I was tired, y'all. I'm guilty. And she didn't want the binky, but I was trying my best to make her take it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, because she didn't cry, she just made noise. She would be, like, oh my God. And then my mom, right, until one day my mom said, she's singing. I said, what? She said she's not crying. She's not even trying to talk. Yeah. She's singing.
Wow.
I said, is she singing? Well, ain't no music that was one time I can honestly say, because like I said, my mom she didn't babysit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was one time I can honestly say my mom saw the distress. And she said, look, she said, go out, get you something to eat, just go out for a few hours. I'll watch the babies.
Okay.
She saw the distress in my face because I'm like, this kid, what do you mean she's singing? Does she have any idea? And at the time, I was in school. I was like, I got homework to do, and I ain't got time to be fooling with her with this singing. I need her to be quiet. I need silence. Yeah. You know, like the other two in there watching TV, and they quiet. Why can't she be quiet? And to this day, that is my most militant child.
Wow.
I love her to death. She is more like me than any of them. But
That's so funny.
But she is very militant, and she'll do stuff out of spite. Megan, have you had Binky issues?
Oh yeah, my son is a Binky lover. He loves his Binky. Like, it's a comfort thing, but to be honest, I would do the whole, put it in your mouth when he was little, and then I just honestly just stopped doing that. I mean, I don't know, builds their immunity. I don't, the benefit of him not crying is better than, I mean, he's not going to become sick. He never did, he survived.
Right. Exactly. He's alive. Stop tripping. Yeah.
It fell. Okay. Oh, well, we're going to move on.
There we go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, now this is a good one. We got like 3 more, but this is a good one because, like I said, I watched this video of Megan's. Okay, so it says, how can I complete household chores with a toddler latching on to me for dear life? And I watched Megan's, I'm telling you, I watched Megan's video and I was just tickled to death. And she kept saying, he never stops moving.
It gives me so much anxiety.
So now, how do you really cope with cleaning a house with a toddler?
I don't.
Oh,
it doesn't happen. It does. I mean, as you saw, you do something and he either undoes it or I sweeped and then he got out chips and fed the dog, and so there's sprinkles of chips. I mean, it just why try when he's even awake?
True. That is a good tip, to do it while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
And what about you, Yanni? How did you deal with it?
Again, I made them get involved. If I'm dusting off some furniture or sweeping, I have them. Well, what they do is not called sweeping. I don't know what you do, moving the dirt around, whatever they do. It would cause the task to take forever. It would double and triple the time that I'm cleaning, but getting them involved with everything, either that or definitely, like Megan said, do it while they're asleep, because otherwise it's non-existent.
Exactly.
Clean this up, and as soon as you clean it up and move to the next task, they're messing up what you just cleaned up.
Right. Well, I heard this lady, a friend of ours, took me to because she apparently sees great things in me. That's what she told me. So a friend of ours took me to a powerful women's leadership conference where they were honoring these powerful women in the state of Tennessee. These women that just were above and beyond. And they were these top people in their fields, right? And everybody got a chance to speak. And this, I heard this woman say this, and I laughed, but it is so true. She said, you get to a point in your life as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, where you're just experiencing life. Life is busy. And if you got a kid at the house like Megan has, that everything you clean up they mess up, she said, look, I have stuff to do. You don't have to come to my house. If it ain't clean, it ain't clean. I'm gonna lock the door. So I'm gonna lock the door. And if you drop by unannounced and don't give me a chance to throw some stuff in the closet, that's your business. And when she said that, I said, that's so true. I mean, and because when my children were smaller, I did what you did a little bit, Yanni. I would get them involved, have them do something. I'd give them a duster, and they dusting stuff that don't even need to be dust,
Right,
They just walking around flinging the duster, messing up more than what I'm messing up everything I'm cleaning up. But at the end of the day, I get it as clean-ish as I can.
Right.
And I try. I know I can't vacuum when they're awake because they're chasing the vacuum cleaner or running from the vacuum cleaner, or something like that. And so I can't vacuum when they're awake, so I vacuum when they're sleeping, or, you just kind of make, and then you just make it fun. I used to make my son sit on the vacuum cleaner. And he's thinking I'm giving him a ride. I'm just trying to vacuum up the potato chips and peanuts. He's all, oh yeah, whatever, kid. My youngest daughter, she's getting on my nerves. I'm trying to wash dishes. So I'm like, get up here and wash the dishes with mom. She ain't doing nothing but splashing bubbles in the sink, But she's out of my way for a hot minute. I tell her, okay, I'll wash, and then you put them, I'll wash and rinse, and then you put them in the dish rack. She's sitting on the counter, literally just setting dishes in the dish rack. So, just little stuff like that, so that they can kind of be out of the way. But for the most part, I would do most of my cleaning when they were asleep, so that I could get most of it done. My hardest task was cleaning the bathroom when they're awake.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing to do because everybody want to come in the bathroom. Now they got to use the bathroom. And are we getting in the tub? No, I'm cleaning the tub.
Leave me alone.
I was like, just leave me be, children. So, but yeah, and then the funnest one I had was we did spring cleaning. Mm-hmm. And my mom is a taskmaster, okay?
Oh.
So she gave everybody a job, Mm-hmm. And so they all had their jobs, and it wasn't getting done. Trust me. And so I'm running behind them, cleaning everything and doing everything that's needed to be done. And we find, me and my mom is up in the upstairs room. And you got to remember, I was a really young mom. So for the first few years of my children's lives, I was still at my mom's house. So... but we're cleaning in the upstairs room, and we move the bed, and we find a penny bank back there. Somebody had given my youngest daughter a Lion King bank for her birthday.
Oh.
And she hid it. And we're trying to figure out, why did this kid hide this bank? And she had it for like, I want to say she had it for about a year because they gave it to her when she was 1. Mm-hmm. So she had it for about a year. Picked the bank up as heavy as crap.
Oh, wow.
We're like, what in the world? So we opened it up. This kid had $350.
Oh my gosh.
Saved up in this bank because every time she'd find change, she was just dropping in the bank.
Oh my goodness.
And she would get in my car or in my mom's car and get our change. We'd be trying to figure out why our change was missing from the little cup. She would get the change and put it in her bank. So over a course of a year, this kid has saved $350.
Wow.
So she comes upstairs and sees us counting her money. Mm-hmm. Now, keep in mind, my children were mature like yours, Johnny. All of them were speaking very clearly and in very clear sentences by the time they were 2. And also, she had a brother and sister that were a little older, so she was always trying to keep up with them. So her speech was really good at this point. So she comes running upstairs and she said, "Hey, that's my money." I said, "We know this is real. Where'd you get all this money?" She said, "At 2 years old, around." I said, "I can't." I said, "I cannot." And at that moment, we knew that chick would never be broke. And to this day, at 27 years old, broke for her means she has less than $500 in the bank. So if she tells you I'm broke, trust me, she got some money.
She still got.
And I had to explain that to her once, and you'll get to this with your kid, Megan. I had to explain to her as an adult that her idea of broke was not people with children's idea of broke.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had to tell her, stop telling your sister, no, you got some money, stop playing.
Yeah.
Because she would tell my oldest daughter would say, "Girl, I don't have money for that, I'm broke." And she'd say, "You stop playing, you're not broke." I said, "Look, she's got a kid that she's taking care of. So broke for her is not the same as broke for you." Because my oldest daughter has a 9-year-old. And she's a teacher. You know, teachers don't make that kind of money. So, and she's a single parent, you know. But here you are, 27 years old. You don't have any children. She just got married. You know, you don't have any children. You make 6 figures almost a year. Stop telling that girl she's not broke. She's been like that her whole life. She's one of those kids. You would take her to the store, and she would have money in her pocket, but she want to spend yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I took her to the store to let her buy her something one day. It was so funny. Never forget it. She bought this lip gloss. You remember the blue bonnet or bonnet lip glosses they used to have?
Oh yeah.
And so she bought this lip gloss, and it was $1.99. We get to the counter, and the lady says, "That'll be $2.15." My kid at 8 years old tells this lady, "But the sign says $1.99. So the lady said, "Well, baby, you have to pay tax." She said, "I don't pay taxes. I'm a kid." And the lady said, "Well, we have to charge you tax. That's $2.15. I want to pay the $1.99, not the 15 cents." So this person behind her says, "Don't worry about it, baby. I got your 15 cents. She said, "I'll pay the 15 cents for it," because everybody was so tickled at her response. So the lady goes to pay her 15. She said, here's 16 cents. That'll pay for your taxes. My kid pulls out a $20 bill.
You know what?
And then the lady looks at her and looks at me. I said, "Why you think I didn't take it out of my purse?"
Because you knew she had.
Because I knew she had the money. I'm not crazy. So, yeah, I'm telling you, that kid there, that one, she's a special. She was special. Okay, so now the next question is, how do I convince my toddler that the potty is not a monster? Now, I'm curious to hear how Megan is dealing with this, because my son is going through this right now with that 2-year-old. So how are you dealing with that, Megan?
Well, my son's, we have like the potty that looks like a potty, looks exactly like a potty, and he's in the stage of like copying. So if I'm going to the bathroom, he'll sit on his potty, but he's not. My son, he is like, his speech is delayed, so he's, has issues with speaking, and he speaks complete gibberish. So the whole potty training thing, it's, hard when they don't talk to, let you know when they have to go or stuff like that. But he just never seemed afraid of it. He always I think he thought it was more so a toy at first. So, and then I had to move it. I had to move it into the bathroom to be like, okay, it's not a toy. So, I wouldn't say he thought it was like ever a monster or like are scared of it, but I don't know. He kind of figured it out on his own, I guess, until I moved it into the bathroom. But
Oh, but see, my daughter did fruit snacks.
oh,
So every time she went to the potty, my daughter would give her fruit snacks
Oh, okay.
as a reward, so that she caught it. But my son is struggling with the 2-year-old because she's like, for what? Why am I getting on this pot? Just give me my dang pull up and leave me alone. and when he sits her on the pot, she closes her eyes real tight, like if I close my eyes, nobody sees me.
Kill me with that.
It's like you can't see me because I'm not looking at you. But she hates getting on this pot. Now I know for my children, when I was potty training them, I did what my grandmother told me to do. I put the pot at first in the living room in front of the TV. So they were scheduled. They were on scheduled times. They went every few hours. And then with my son, what I would do is I would slowly move the pot back a few feet every day. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, the pot was in the bathroom. So what he would do is he would get up. He know he's got to pee. He would go get on the pot real fast because he didn't want to miss Sesame Street. You see, so I mean that was how I did it. And I'm like, every few hours we would go after about 30 minutes after he drank something, or 30 minutes after one of the girls. The girls were easier than him because he's a boy. And then when he got to the age where I felt like he should be standing up using the bathroom, I called my cousin and said, "Hey, I can't teach him how to do this. I need you to come over." You know. So, but that's how I probably trained mine. The girls were a little easier because they weren't as for them, like she said with her baby, they were copying me. So they would just sit on the pot when I go, but he was a little different. So I had to get creative with him. We had to treat it like, and he would sit on the pot and watch TV and then look down at the pot. And I'm like, "Did you poop?" And he said, "Uh-huh." So then I was like, "Okay, good job." You know, we clap about it and sing. And so yeah, I had to get creative. Because I struggled. I asked my grandmother, I said, "I don't know. How am I get this?" I said, "Because these kids of mine, because my daughter and my son, my oldest daughter and my son are so close together. They're only like 1 year and 4 months apart. And so they were so close together. I'm like, I cannot afford to be buying diapers for everybody." So yeah, so I had to get creative. My grandmother was very helpful. and then she bought extra pots so I could have them all over the house.
That's good.
My grandmother was so funny. She was so funny. I was like, "Your mama, why do I need 3 pots?" She said, "Girl, you better have them everywhere so they ain't got to try to make it."
Exactly.
People have them even in their cars.
See, I was like, "Oh my God." Okay, all right. So how was your potty training experience, Yanni?
Oh my goodness, it was along those same lines. My son, because he was always naked, we would have frequent accidents.
Oh, wow.
But it was okay. You know, I was okay with it. My daughters were much easier to potty train. Oh my gosh. But we took it in stride. We didn't I didn't fuss a whole lot, and we just dealt with it. No. We just dealt with it. But honestly, like I was saying, the girls were much easier. And when we had accidents, we clean them up, and we try better the next time.
I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
So you know how people say when they have accidents, that's them like learning to like hold it in, or the aspect of like holding it. Well, what if my son, because he, after the bath at night, he like runs around naked for a little bit, and he always pees. So he like thinks it's like, I mean, he doesn't know. I think he thinks it's normal. I'm like, I can't ever teach him to go in the potty if he thinks it's just natural to pee on the floor.
Well, you got to understand. For me, let me explain how, because you have a boy,
Uh-huh.
and so boys think it's hilarious because they have this attachment that they can just pee
Yeah.
anywhere. So, he gets out the tub and he's running around. He's like, okay, pee time,
Yeah, he squats and then he watches it. And I'm like, why?
Right. So what you have to do, and this is, I actually went through something similar with my son. He would wait until I ran all the water out of the tub when I got ready to get the towel, and then he pee.
Yeah.
So what I had to end up doing was, as quickly as I possibly could, I had to put training pants on him.
Okay.
Because the thing is that with kids, and this is my experience, Gianna, you can tell me if you experience the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
With kids, when they feel the wetness, they understand better.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Right. So if he's peeing in the floor, he's not feeling that wetness on himself.
Exactly.
So he's like, "Oh, I peed in the floor. Mama cleaned it up." So if you get training pants or underwear on him pretty quickly, and he feels the wetness, then he's like, "Okay, I don't like the way this feels," and he'll stop.
Right.
He'll stop doing that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that's one of the reasons why I've always not really cared for pull-ups, because they feel just like diapers, so they don't feel wet.
Yeah, like same.
But if you put training pants on them, they feel that, and they don't want to feel that. You see what I'm saying? And so that's I struggle with that with my grandchildren, because as they were getting potty trained, I couldn't get my children to understand that they need to feel the wetness.
Okay.
So that they can be they need to feel, and it seems harsh, but they need to feel the unpleasantness so that they can stop doing it, because it'll click in their brain. If I don't pee on myself, then I won't feel like this.
Well, I'm tired of cleaning it up.
That's the last question. The last question is keeping my toddler on a leash a bad parenting?
Ooh, some people are weird about that.
Yeah. That's a loaded question, because people are really weird about that. They're like, why are you putting that baby on a leash? But here's my thing. At first, when they first came out with the leashes for the kids, I was like, are you kidding me? You putting your baby on a leash? I was one of those. But when they made the little backpack ones, I felt like that was a little better. But I also see the need, because when you're in a crowded area, sometimes kids, you can take your eyes off them for 2 seconds and they're gone.
Yeah.
So I don't mind a leash.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, after having a kid, I get it. There's a lot of things before I had a kid, I would look at, like, things like that, like a leash, and be like, why would anyone put, a leash on their child, And now being a parent, I'm like, okay, I got it. I understand. Exactly. It's just, like you said, just safety, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It's exhausting. And that's the thing. Like I said, you could, like I said, you could take your eyes off kids for just 2 seconds, and they disappear. And it's like the scariest thing ever.
Terrifying.
So I get it now. Like when my children were growing up, I would do things like hold my pocket. Hold on to my pocket, don't move. Everybody stick close. And especially if you have more than one kid,
right.
And so, but now we're living in a different time, and people are just not as nice as they used to be.
No.
And you got crowds and crowds of people. And if you're in a crowded area, you're in a grocery store, you're in a mall, you're at a farmer's market, people are moving.
Yeah. And
all around you.
And that when you chase them, they're not going to come to you. They're going to run away.
Right. They're going to keep running because they think we're having
Yeah.
fun because you're chasing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what I said. So I get it. At first, I was not a fan of it, but I get it. My only thing is, at least do the backpack one.
Make it like visually more, I mean, personally, I would go for the, like, what makes me feel, not that it's like, like I said, I get it, but just like, I don't know, my own personal mom guilt, because it just like looks like I'm walking a dog.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's like visually a backpack looks better.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's me. I'm like, at least do the backpack one, so it's not like you got your arm on a leash and the kid on a leash, and it look like you just walking.
Yeah,
At least and see, and then this is what my daughter did because she knew how I felt. And this is what she did when my granddaughter was young. She got her one of the backpack ones, and she put the strap, but it wasn't a strap. It was like the coil type thing. And she hooked that to her belt buckle. I mean, her belt loop. And so it just looked like the backpack was attached to her belt.
Oh.
So it didn't look like she was walking an animal,
Yeah, it looked even better.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I can live with that, Like I can live, don't put a leash on the kid. Yeah. Come on, man. But like I said, I get it, especially if you're in places like the zoo or an amusement park or something like that. I get it. I do get it. It's just that you have to be, for me, the aesthetics of it, the appearance.
I mean, they don't, they, like my son won't even stay in a stroller. So they want to walk, Right. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, because they want to walk. Even though a stroller would be nice, but they want to walk and they want to see things and touch stuff and experience stuff.
Yeah.
And, I went to the farmer's market a couple months ago and I saw the cutest thing I had ever seen. This couple had their baby in a stroller. They had the little hood thing for the shade. She had her own shades on. Her feet was hanging off the end, and they had a fan hooked up to blowing on her. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that is just too cute.
It's like you thought of everything.
Yeah, they thought of it all. She had her little water bottle in there with her. I mean, they thought of everything. Like, we want this kid calm while we're out here. Alrighty, darling. So you have been listening to part 3 of our Mom Files episode 2, which is turning out to be very wonderful. And like I said, I do apologize for any technical difficulties that we were having, but the conversation was so authentic and so organic and so wonderful that I didn't want to try retaping it. I don't do scripted podcasts. Whatever happens, and I love that. Well, on our next episode, our next part of this particular series, I get a chance to have just some one-on-one conversation with Miss Megan about some of the struggles and stuff that she's going through and some questions that she has as a new parent. And I am really looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Please go by and check out her channel, Overcoming This Life, on YouTube. If you want to find a way to contact us or you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Stella Ruth's Table. You can find me on Twitter at Ruth_Table, and you can also find me, send me an email if you like. I'm sorry, I said find me, but you can send me an email you like to stellaruthstable@gmail.com. I am so appreciative of you guys listening in and taking a minute and checking us out. Thank you so very much for just taking a little time out your busy lives. As always, I love you. God bless you. Live life, laugh often, and eat some good food while you're doing it.